Have you ever wondered why some people walk into a room and instantly earn respect, before they even say a word? It's not because they're the richest person there. It's not because they're the loudest. And surprisingly, it's often not because they're the smartest. Respect isn't something people announce. It's something they quietly give away. Every day, your brain makes hundreds of unconscious judgments about the people around you. Within seconds, you begin deciding who seems trustworthy, competent, confident, and worth listening to. The strange part is that most of these decisions aren't based on resumes, achievements, or social status. They're based on invisible signals. Signals so subtle that most people never notice them, yet powerful enough to shape careers, friendships, relationships, and leadership. Once you understand these invisible rules, you'll start seeing them everywhere. Imagine two strangers introducing themselves at a networking event. Both have similar qualifications. Both work in the same industry. Both are equally intelligent. Yet after 10 minutes, everyone remembers one of them. Why? The answer begins with something psychologists call first impressions. Humans evolved in environments where making quick decisions helped us survive. We had to judge whether someone was dangerous, reliable, or capable in a matter of moments. Thousands of years later, our environment has changed, but our brains haven't. Today, those same instincts quietly influence who gets promoted, who becomes a leader, and who earns respect. The first invisible rule is emotional stability. Picture two people facing the exact same problem. The first person immediately panics. They complain, blame others, and react emotionally. The second person pauses. They take a breath. Then they calmly ask, what's the best solution? Who would you naturally trust? Most people mistake emotional reactions for passion, but our brains often associate calmness with competence. A calm person sends an unspoken message. I can handle pressure. That message is incredibly powerful. Now, this doesn't mean never showing emotion. It means your emotions don't control your decisions. People respect those who remain steady when circumstances become chaotic. The next rule surprises almost everyone. People respect authenticity more than perfection. Think about someone who constantly changes their opinions depending on who they're talking to. Around one group, they agree with everything. Around another group, they become a completely different person. At first, this may seem like social intelligence, but over time, people sense something is missing. Consistency. Now think about someone else. They're polite. They're open-minded. But their values stay the same regardless of who's in the room. You always know where they stand. That kind of consistency creates trust. And trust is the foundation of respect. Another invisible rule is how you handle silence. Many people believe respect comes from saying impressive things. In reality, it often comes from knowing when not to speak. Imagine you're in a meeting. One person interrupts constantly. They rush to fill every pause. Another person listens carefully. When they finally speak, everyone pays attention. Why? Because thoughtful words carry more weight than constant words. Silence isn't weakness. When used well, it's confidence without announcement. People instinctively value what isn't given away too easily. Now let's talk about something almost everyone struggles with. The desire to be liked. There's nothing wrong with wanting people to like you. The problem begins when approval becomes your main goal. Imagine someone who apologizes for everything. They avoid saying no. They never express disagreement because they're afraid of upsetting people. Ironically, the harder they try to gain approval, the less respect they often receive. Why? Because approval-seeking communicates uncertainty. It tells others that your opinion depends on their acceptance. Respect grows differently. It grows when people see that your actions are guided by principles, not by the fear of rejection. That doesn't mean becoming difficult or arrogant. It means being honest without being disrespectful. Confidence has another interesting characteristic. Real confidence rarely announces itself. Think about the strongest people you've met. Did they constantly remind everyone how successful they were? Probably not. In contrast, people who constantly need to prove themselves often reveal insecurity without realizing it. Real confidence doesn't need an audience. It doesn't compete for attention. It simply exists. And that's exactly why it attracts respect. Here's another invisible rule that changes relationships more than almost anything else. Reliability. Imagine a friend who always keeps their promises. If they say they'll call, they call. If they say they'll help, they help. Now imagine someone who makes promises casually but rarely follows through. Who earns your respect? Respect isn't built through grand gestures. It's built through repeated evidence. Every kept promise becomes another reason people trust you. Over time, trust becomes reputation. And reputation becomes respect. There's another quality that quietly separates respected people from everyone else. Boundaries. Many people believe saying yes makes them kind. Sometimes it does. But saying yes to everything often communicates something else. That your time isn't valuable. Imagine lending your car to someone who never returns it on time. Then they ask again. If you continue saying yes while feeling resentful, you're teaching them that your boundaries don't matter. Healthy boundaries aren't about pushing people away. They're about showing others how to treat you. People tend to respect those who respect themselves. One of the most misunderstood aspects of respect is intelligence. Most people assume being respected means having all the answers. But respected people often ask the best questions. Instead of trying to appear knowledgeable, they become genuinely curious. They listen. They observe. They learn. Curiosity signals confidence because it isn't threatened by uncertainty. People who ask thoughtful questions usually understand more than people who constantly try to impress others. Let's consider responsibility. Everyone makes mistakes. No exceptions. The difference isn't whether mistakes happen. It's what happens next. Imagine two employees make the same costly error. One immediately blames a coworker. The other says, "I made a mistake. Here's how I'll fix it." Which person would you trust with more responsibility? Taking ownership doesn't make you look weaker. It makes you look mature. People know perfection isn't realistic, but accountability is. Now think about generosity. Not generosity with money, generosity with attention. In today's world, attention has become one of the rarest resources. Everyone wants to speak. Few want to listen. When someone gives you their full attention without checking their phone or thinking about what they'll say next, you notice it. It makes you feel valued. The people who consistently make others feel heard often become deeply respected, not because they're trying to manipulate anyone, but because genuine attention is increasingly uncommon. There's one final rule that ties everything together. Integrity. Integrity means your values don't change when no one is watching. It's choosing honesty when dishonesty would be easier. Keeping promises that no one else remembers. Doing the right thing even when there's no reward. These moments rarely receive applause. Most people will never know they happened. But every one of those choices shapes your character. And character has a remarkable quality. Eventually, people notice it. Not through speeches, not through social media, through patterns. The way you respond under pressure. The way you treat people who can't help you. The way you handle success. The way you accept failure. Respect isn't built in a single dramatic moment. It's built through hundreds of ordinary decisions that quietly reveal who you are. The world often tells us to become louder, faster, and more impressive. But the people who earn lasting respect usually follow a different path. They become calmer, more reliable, more honest, more consistent. They don't chase admiration. They become the kind of person admiration naturally follows. The next time you meet someone you instantly respect, pay close attention. It probably won't be because they demanded it. It won't be because they tried to prove their worth. It will be because, without saying a word, they communicated something far more powerful. That they knew exactly who they were. And in a world where so many people are trying to be noticed, the people who are remembered are often the ones who never had to ask for respect in the first place.